Hi, this is my assignment 1 stage 5 video report. I'm Zhao Chen. The entire video made of two parts. The first one is summary of workflow and creation experience with AI. The second one is some in-depth analysis. The first thing is how I determine the project thing. I first look through the class sites to see what idea my classmates had, and after going through all of them, I find myself really interested in some interaction between people and machines. And next, I start thinking about which idea from the everyday life could be implemented. When I return to my computer desktop, suddenly got inspired. I really like this desktop because it has some time, a dynamic background, and some interactions. This is can follow my mouse. And the next thing I did is make main character. I'm very certain that I want to create a character of Japanese samurai, which is inspired by a character called Genji from my favorite game. How I choose the Leonardo AI. In the initial stage, I didn't know which AI tools to use or where I can find them, so I just did the same as I go to the cloud sites and discover the three possible platforms, which is called DALL-E, Leonardo, and Midjourney. I tried all of them, but I was very dissatisfied with the result because just a cool guy. That's the first image I got. It's just a cool guy, not a Japanese samurai. After one class, I discussed with one of my group member, and she suggested me to use ChatGPT to generate prompts. And this time I got a better one of this image. I know it's in the right direction, so I just played with Leonardo for a few times and asked ChatGPT to refine my prompts. And finally, I got the image I want. It's right here. The next thing I do is generate a video because I want to use a video to as my background. Uh, I want the background to be related to the Japanese samurai, so I choose the five-story pagoda in Kyoto. With my previous experience, this time I just directly go to ChatGPT and ask him to create the prompts. I describe the video I envision, and it generates the prompts which I use directly in Hello. I had learned about the software in another class and knew it was particularly good, so I didn't try other video platform this time. That's the first version I got. I really like it, but the Fire I don't like it, so I made some changes. The Fire is here, and I'm quite satisfied. The next thing I faced is I don't know how to edit a video because this video is too long. I can't put it in the wallpaper engine. And I asked ChatGPT to recommend some user-friendly video self editing software. And I got some suggestion, Filmora, Jianying, and Adobe Premiere Rush. I ultimately choose Jianying because it's developed by a Chinese tech company. And indeed, this software is very user-friendly, and the tutorial provided were extremely helpful. I finished this editing, didn't take too long. It's just really straightforward. The last thing I did is adding interaction. The wallpaper engine has many built-in interaction tools, but it's too complicated and I don't have time and energy to learn it. So I explained to ChatGPT what kind of interaction I want to create and ask it to help me generate queries for YouTube. This way I could effectively search for tutorial videos and all I need is just follow the tutorial videos and make the interaction I want and finally I made it. There is some suffix here and my mouse can click them and it will force my mouse. A part two, some in-depth analysis. The first question I ask is what are the pain points in my workflow? When I first time use ChatGPT, it's quite difficult. When I use ChatGPT, it's really difficult for me to sometimes refer back to my previous conversation. So I have to copy and paste information into a new chat, which disrupt my thought process and make my response less logical. And the next thing I find is both Leonardo and Hilo is need a very high quality prompts, and I have to use ChatGPT to do it, and I can't do it by myself, which is kind of disappointing. The last thing I find difficult is control details, both in Leonardo and Hilo is difficult to achieve. Because sometimes I want to change a specific part. These two models not only fail to adjust the details I mentioned, but also end up changing other aspects instead. And I have to take more time to adjust it. The next question I ask is, how's my current workflow different from the traditional design workflow? The first thing is quite obvious. It's more convenient because now I can use AI tools to generate images, videos, and even music, which previously would have taken a designer a really long time to produce. In the traditional design process, these elements require a significant time and effort, but now with AI, I can generate them within a few minutes. The next thing I find is reduce the trial and error cost. When using AI to generate images, if I don't like the result, I can just simply re-enter my prompt. But in traditional design, if a designer want to redo all the picture or videos, it will take a really long time. And what I find most valuable is that with lower trial and error costs, my thinking becomes more innovative and dynamic, and my ideas are no longer constrained. The last question I ask is, will this model get misused? Obviously, yes, because these models don't have any technical barriers, so people can really quickly learn them to generate photos or videos, and users can publish this generated content on social media, and especially people who try to create misinformation or spread misinformation. This kind of AI tools will only amplify their impact on society and human cognition, which leads to unnecessary cognitive cost.